What is falsely seen as a sign of maturity? Having a spouse and kids. My family thinks I am skirting responsibility by not having kids. I know a lot of people who had them thinking they were obligated to, and neglect them. I remember telling somebody I know from college I don't want them ever, and she said, "My boyfriend's not afraid to take responsibility and have kids," as if I wasn't a real man for not having them. For some, it's a sign of virility and maturity. It's more responsible to choose not to take on a responsibility that you don't want. Giving up things you enjoy because they're childish. In my opinion, giving up or belittling adults for enjoying what they like is childish. I was dating a girl recently, and I showed her my PSP. I have it since 2007, original battery and everything, and I play PSX games from time to time. When I showed it to her, she said, "What are you, 12? I felt very small and childish. But maybe I shouldn't have. Thankfully, we are not dating anymore. An older colleague friend once said to me, "There is a difference between childish and childlike." She said this when I was feeling self-conscious about being a grown adult, but still liking many things we are taught that only kids are supposed to like. Ex of mine gave me shit because I have several expensive gaming computers, a few thousand in Star Wars Lego sets, and spend the majority of my income on my cats. I asked her to ballpark her average spent on makeup, her streaming subs, her clothes, her concerts. I said hobbies are only a problem when they get in the way of life. I have a roof over my head, a good truck, and neither me or my cats want for food. It doesn't matter if I spent every dollar I made on GPUs and cat toys. It's my money to spend. I told her if she doesn't like my hobbies or my spending habits, she's free to get back in her POS Kia and leave. She did, and I've spent every second afterward forgetting about her and playing with my cats. Being above humor and putting others down for joking around. When you are a true adult, you can also know how to be a child. The other day, a cousin of mine, 20Y, made fun of my sibling, 25Y, for wanting to go to an amusement park ride one of the fastest roller coasters in the country, saying rides are for kids, grow up. Excuse me, but that is a sad view of life right there. I think an even bigger sign of maturity is not giving a fuck about what other people think. Working 60+ hours a week. I need folk to understand working 60+ hours, and being proud isn't the flex they think it is. Aren't I mature? I know how to be exploited and work, so I neglect my family. Stop enjoying. My dad in a nutshell. Stop being happy with your steady job that pays enough so you can afford whatever you want and leaves you with tons of free time. Life and work need to be a grind and a fight, or you're not doing it right. I guess that's my gift to him, so he can have something to be angry about, the only thing that makes him happy. Protestant work ethic and its idea that you need to be constantly working, even in your free time, has always been a huge mystery to me, specifically why a lot of people are so stuck up with it. The sense of superiority is a defense mechanism. If someone live a life of self-imposed overwork and misery, the only way to justify it is to believe that there's some intrinsic virtue to that lifestyle. Otherwise, they'd have to acknowledge that relaxing and having free time is not only valid, but highly preferable. I have seen many examples of people mistaking arrogance with confidence. Confidence, of course, being a sign of maturity. I have been there myself when I was younger. Incredibly arrogant, and I thought I was being confident. But confidence is someone who is secure in themselves and who don't feel the need to prove themselves to others all the time. Arrogance is the opposite of that. As someone, male 33, who's never been more confident about themselves, work and life in general, I fully agree. I have two coworkers, male 18 and male 21, and they constantly try to outdo each other, and the youngest tried that with me, too. I was probably like that when I was their age too. Hell, I've noticed my confidence level rising since I became a dad 17 months ago. I don't feel the need to go head-to-head over something irrelevant anymore. Very happy about that. I would add confidence as being able to learn and change without feeling like you're being attacked. I have confidence in myself enough to acknowledge when I'm wrong and not lose that confidence. Not acting childish. Sounds so strange, but the most mature people usually have no problem tapping into their childish or silly sides. Immature people overdo it trying to be cool. Conversely, telling someone they're a stick in the mud because they aren't comfortable acting a certain way. I'm a naturally reserved person. I like quiet music, peaceful settings, and spend a lot of time in quiet contemplation. It doesn't mean there is something wrong with me. Not feeling required to be a certain way is probably the best all around for this. The real mark of maturity is knowing that people are different and appreciating them for their differences. Not apologizing to younger people. Also treating everyone younger as you like they are a kid, even if they are an adult. When the eldest child is made to be a third parent and is good at it, it does not mean they're mature. They're still children forced to raise their siblings. Parentified child. It results in emotional immaturity and other psychological issues. They don't get to be kids themselves. Can confirm, even though my sister came to this rock when I was already 18, still had to be the man of the house, because her father, and I'm using that term so generously, I could deduct it on my taxes, decided to fuck off and abandoned her and the rest of the family. And my mother is a useless narcissistic piece of garbage who had to, and I swear to God I'm not making this up, asked me, her goddamn son, to educate my sister because she wasn't listening to my mother's every instruction and was just doing silly kid stuff. Now I'm in therapy and the only person I can blame isn't even there anymore, as I walked out of the house and never turned back. I still miss my little sister though. I'm an eldest daughter and had to do this. I had my first kid a year ago and will never do this to him. I love my siblings, but growing up that way has made me unable to relax properly. Having a career requiring very specialized expertise. I know doctors and lawyers who are incredibly emotionally immature. Their kids are usually good evidence of this hidden secret. You mean having a career that must be prioritized over your family can have detrimental effects? That, but it's also what often drives people to go into high-status fields, insecurity. Not true for all, but many place this insecurity onto their children. It crushes childhood creativity, as the parent expects an adult level of competence from the child. The child then usually takes one of two paths. 1. Relentlessly trying to achieve goals they don't even know if they want. 2. Giving up on themselves because it's hopeless to even try to achieve what their parents have. For most teenagers, they aren't able to envision long-term development of competence without a mentor's assistance. This is why you often see the children of doctors, lawyers, and CEOs as either unable to have naturally flowing and enjoyable conversations, they're trying to control everything, in dead-end jobs. They were never inspired by their chosen field because they didn't really choose it, or addicts, as a way to cope with having no direction or comparative self-worth. As the child of a doctor, I've definitely been pretty insecure about the amount of effort that I put in compared to my parents, which pushed me to do better than them in other aspects, writing, athletics, etc., and it was definitely difficult getting over the fact that I started doing those things out of a feeling of inferiority. But because of how long I've been doing these things for and the connections I've built, it does feel like I can finally consider them passions. It is funny that both of my parents called themselves devoid of creativity, and that writing is difficult, and that's what pushed me to try my hand at it. Being stiff and mature. Basically putting yourself above others due to their position in comparison to yourself. That just shows insecurity, if anything. The ability to drink alcohol is falsely seen as a sign of maturity. Maturity is having the option to drink alcohol and choosing not to. Water is the real adult beverage. A beard. Mine started to be full with 14, but I was still a FKN kid though. Same for a girl with curves. They start at 11. I can't even imagine how rough it is for curvy girls with beards. Cynicism. It's just a defeated, uninspiring way to look at the world. I get where it's coming from, but it will get you nowhere in life. A healthy amount of cynicism makes you tone down expectations. I found it useful and weirdly calming, especially in stranger does something irritating situations. That said, I try to avoid being cynical around friends at all costs. Sex. Yes. I remember when some kids in our class thought they were being super mature when they were having sex together when they were 13 or 14. Apparently, at least some of them didn't even like the sex, they just wanted to be cool and adulty by doing it. Smoking or anything of the sort. Former smoker reporting, one of the worst mistakes I ever made in my life. I got out before it hurt me mortally. But I'm asthmatic now because I was that stupid little wise ass who thought smoking was cool back in the mid-90s. Asthma isn't the joke in real life that it is on TV sitcoms. Every time I get the flu, I end up in the hospital because my lungs don't have the same ability to weather the illness the way they would had I not smoked. If it's not air, don't breath it. You don't want to know the things I know about pulmonary inflammation. Dating older men in high school and middle school. In high school, late 2010s, we used to think that these girls that bragged about having boyfriends in their early 20s to 30s were so much more mature than us. I remember being jealous since we had to deal with idiot high school boys instead of older men that seemed like the ideal men for us. In reality, those girls were being manipulated and groomed into thinking that they wanted these relationships. It breaks my heart knowing that so many young women will have to heal from the damage done to them by men that they think love them when really they are just attracted to the control and power they have over these girls who don't know better. I recently looked up one of the girls and it turns out that she had got married to the same man that had groomed her all those years ago. They met when she was 14 and he was 26. It made me feel sickly ill. Getting up early. What is falsely seen as a sign of maturity? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.